So let's start, right?
Sure.
Welcome to the Odoo webinar. This is Mandy, the marketing officer of Odoo APAC, and this is Curtis, our business advisor. And right now we're gonna start our webinar today. And today the topic is the Odoo 101. Anything you need to know and how to get started with Odoo. Then we just left the time to Curtis. Thank you.
Sure. So, hello everyone. Thank you for spending time to see our webinar today. So, if you can see my screen, this is a little bit of background for myself. My name is Curtis. Once again, I am a business advisor here in the Hong Kong office, which is our Asia Pacific headquarters. So basically, what I do is I help companies understand, how Odoo operates and what Odoo can do potentially for your business. I analyze your workflow to see, which part of Odoo would be useful, and basically I recommend the right type of services to different companies. Okay, so here's some of my contact information. If after the webinar you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, give me a call, or you can even directly book a time to do a demo with me, so I can walk you through the specific features that you're interested in. All right. So I will leave the screen on towards the end of the webinar also. So don't worry. All right. So like Mandy was saying, today we will be basically talking about Odoo 101, which is I would say the most basic background information of Odoo and some very basic features of Odoo. So on the screen you can see the agenda for today. So first, I would like to give a brief introduction of Odoo. Some of you might be familiar with Odoo already, but if you're just tuning in to see what Odoo is about, I think you will learn a great deal about Odoo in the introduction. Secondly, we will talk about our pricing structure and our services. I've been with Odoo for about a year now, and I feel like a lot of companies have a lot of questions about our pricing structure and also what type of service we provide along with our subscription. So I would like to spend a little bit of time to explain that, so then you would understand how it works. So third, we will be talking about the basic navigation in the Odoo database. Obviously there are some free features that you will be able to enjoy with signing up for a subscription. So I will walk you through that, show you what are the basic features of Odoo database. So then, when you guys started, you wouldn't be as lost. All right. So the fourth thing that we are going to talk about is I would like to briefly show you how our sales application work. Because obviously that's one of the I would say the most popular or the most common application that companies would use with Odoo, just because every company would need to send a sales order to their customer and obviously make money with an invoice. All right. So then obviously at the very end, like Mandy was saying earlier, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. We will try to pick out a few questions and give you some answers, and hopefully we can have a little bit more of an interaction. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the introduction of Odoo. So as you may already know, Odoo is a all-in-one business management software, all right, that is fully integrated. So what that means is that we have a bunch of standard features already, and as soon as you start using Odoo, you can already use those standard features to help you operate your business. Okay, now what does fully integrated means? This means that all of the information that you have inputted into the Odoo system, not only will you be able to access it, in the module or application that you have, inputted in, but that information is also shared between the whole software. And more often than not, the system will know how to use this information and create what we call automations for you. So it makes operating your business a lot easier. All right. So I think later on you will see how that integration works and how that could potentially help you with your business. Okay. So just to give you a little bit of a background history of Odoo, we were founded in 2001. So this is actually our founder, Fabian. He is still our current CEO. So we are actually a Belgium company. So our headquarters is in Belgium, and Fabian founded Odoo in Belgium. And when he was trying to create Odoo, He felt like only big companies with a lot of money to spend could afford a ERP or a business management software system. And basically, he didn't see where smaller companies could really use or take advantage of a system like that. So that's why he wanted to create a fully integrated system that would also be suitable for small businesses. All right. And then he also wanted to create this affordable system to be able to grow with the company. So he didn't want small companies to get Odoo, but then once they grow, to a certain size, they would have to use another software. So basically, that was the reason why he created Odoo, and that was his mission from day one. So, like I was saying, Odoo is a Belgium company, so obviously our headquarters is in Belgium. Uh, Along with our Belgium offices, we actually currently have 10 offices worldwide. So, as you can see on the map, we are basically covering, all the corners of the globe. So right now, Mandy and I, we are actually sitting in the Hong Kong office, which is our Asia Pacific headquarters, and we deal with the whole APAC region, such as Hong Kong, Australia, Singapore, Vietnam, just to name a few. Okay, so as you can see, Odoo is actually growing very rapidly. So we are looking at around 60 to 70% year-on-year growth, and we actually already have 4 million users worldwide. That puts us in one of the most used softwares, business management softwares in the world. Okay, so like I was saying, since we have quite a lot of offices, our employee family pool is also growing very fast. Currently, we have almost close to 900 employees, and we're looking to aggressively, expand that number continuously. Apart from helping businesses use Odoo on our own, we're also working with a lot of what we call Odoo partners. So Odoo partners basically help Odoo implement the software across the world. Whenever you feel like you have need to contact a partner, maybe you want to speak to somebody locally, but there's not an Odoo office in your country, then you can contact one of our partners, and they can provide you with the services that you would need to use Odoo. All right. So as you can see on the screen, we actually have a large number of partners who are helping us implement Odoo throughout the world. So just to give you a small example of some of the companies that use Odoo. So on the screen, you can see some notable companies like Shell, Volkswagen. But really, like I said, Odoo really tried to focus on the smaller to medium-sized businesses. So here within APEC, we have companies like Aeon, which is a Japanese supermarket chain. We have Food Panda, which is a food delivery company. And we also have brands like Mizuno, which is a Japanese sporting goods brand. All right. So we actually have a reference page on our website. So if you're interested in finding out what companies are using Odoo in your specific country, you can go ahead and go to our website and take a look at our reference page. Okay. So that was the background of Odoo. Now I would like to talk a little bit about how Odoo is different than other softwares in the market and how Odoo can help you, with your business. So I have prepared a diagram for you on the left side of the screen. So basically, this illustrates how a traditional company would usually operate. So a lot of times, a company would be using a dozen or even more softwares at the same time just to operate their business. So for example, you might be using Google Calendar for your schedules and activities. You might be using Excel for your inventory, your contact list, for example. And then let's just say maybe you might be using QuickBooks for your accounting. All right. So the problem with working like this is that you see all these gray lines. Basically, they represent the time where you have to do what we call double entry. All right. So that means a lot of times when you input information into one software, if you want to handle another part of your operation with another software, you would have to either do a import or export between the software. You might have to copy and paste. In some extreme cases, you might have to redo the whole thing again just to input that information in another software. All right. So we feel like that's not really an efficient way to operate your business because you're spending a lot of time on what we call admin tasks. And basically, Odoo was created to change that phenomena. All right. So on the other hand, you have Odoo, where everything is integrated, and like I was saying in the beginning, information that you input would be shared among the system, and also you can create different automations. So Odoo can actually really take advantage of the information that you put in and basically do the work for you. All right. So I think with this way of working, you can really increase your efficiency and productivity, and it really allows your staff to focus on what we call revenue generating tasks instead of admin tasks, which would obviously help your company grow in a much faster pace. All right. So how are we able to handle this integration and do all of these automations for you? Basically, we separate our features into different applications or modules. All right. So as you can see on the screen, we actually have a bunch of different applications that you can use in Odoo. So we have categories like sales, finance, operation. We have even more advanced apps like manufacturing, human resources, and even marketing. All right. So the good thing about Odoo is you only need to install, or in other words, pay for the applications that your business needs. All right. So for example, let's say you run a simple trading business, you might need sales, invoicing, and let's say inventory. And then maybe you run a manufacturing company, you might add manufacturing to that. All right. So you are in control of what is installed into the database, which means you are in control of what you pay for. All right. So I think that's a major difference between Odoo and a lot of different software companies is that what ended up happening a lot is these other softwares would make you buy like a bundle of 10 things. But in the end, you might be only using two. So you're paying for a lot of things or features that you don't really need. Whereas in Odoo, you actually have the flexibility to install or even uninstall applications based on what you need and what you like. Okay, so I think we would definitely be looking into that a little bit more in detail later on. So we have about 50 core applications, which are the ones that you see on the screen. However, we actually have hundreds more of smaller applications, and they're all fully integrated even with these 50 core applications. Okay. So now I would like to talk to you about our implementation methodology. So implementation means when you get a new software, you have to do certain configurations and setting up, right? Because such as, give you an example, when you get a new phone, for example, you might have to set, the time zone. You might have to set the languages. So that's kind of similar to what you would need to do when you get a new software. So within Odoo, like I was saying earlier, we already have a bunch of standard features. And we recommend and encourage you to stick with the standard features because even though customizations and development is possible, the more customizations or development that you do would significantly increase the cost of you using Odoo. Okay. Now, what I mean by that is when you add something that is not already in the software, obviously you have to pay for people, either it is us or partners to create those features for you. And also it will significantly increase the time that it would take to implement your database. All right. So not only are you paying extra money, but you're actually waiting longer to use Odoo. So if we take a step back, we know that the reason why we're trying to get you to use Odoo is because we're trying to improve your business, right? We're trying to increase your productivity. So the longer that you have to wait, the longer that you're stuck with your current way of working, which is not efficient. So in the end, going standard is the best way of using Odoo just because it will save you money and you can get to a more efficient style of operating your business as soon as possible. All right. So speaking of pricing and money, I would like to talk to you a little bit about how we charge and what services that you get along with subscribing to Odoo. So let me quickly switch to our pricing page. So in Odoo, we're actually very proud of letting you know our pricing as transparently as possible. So, if you are at home, you can already go to our website. You can go to odoo.com/pricing, and you will already be able to see the pricing for your country. Okay? So there's no funny business going on. The price that you see on our website is what you will pay for. And there's no hidden costs or anything like that. All right. So there are two main parts to our pricing. All right. So the number one part is the amount of users that you have on the database. All right. Now what that means is that we're looking at the total amount of users that will be accessing the database. Okay. We are different than other softwares in terms of the pricing per user, because a lot of different softwares they charge per app per user. So meaning if you have this app, it has 3 people, we only charge you for those 3, and then this other app you have 5 people, then we will charge you for those 5. However, given the flexibility that we offer to you, you can add or subtract applications at any time, like I said before. It would be really complicated to calculate all of the users per application. Okay, so basically what we did is we broke up the 2 parts, and we would just look at each part in terms of the users and the applications separately. All right, and one thing to note is that we use a user calculation that is called the named users. So basically, we're not charging by concurrent user. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you tell me, oh, actually, this person only works in the morning, but not at night, and then at night it's a different person. Can we have a shared user? The answer would be no, because in Odoo, you will see we have a lot of traceability features where you can record and see which person did what. So that's why we have what we call a named user. So each individual employee in your company who will be using the database would have their own user account. Okay, so that's the first part of the pricing, is the total number of users that will be using the database. Now the second part is the amount of applications that you will use in your database. Okay, so let's just give you an example. So right now I'm in Hong Kong, so that's why I'm looking at the Hong Kong pricing, but we actually have a different pricing for different countries, just because we want to look at the GDP and how much people are making, and we want to be fair to everybody. All right, so if you can go on your browser and go to our pricing page, and you will see the pricing for your specific country. Okay, so let's just say we have about 10 people in the company who will be using the database, so I'm going to put 10. You will see the pricing will reflect the cost for 10 people. All right, and then let's just say I'm going to select a few applications here. Let's just say sales, accounting, purchase, and inventory, which is a very basic setup for a trading company. All right, so as you can see to the right, we actually give you a clear breakdown of the pricing that you're being charged. All right, so for 10 users, this is how much you're paying, and for 5 applications, this is how much you're paying. Okay, so as you can see, if I increase the number of users, it only increases the price for the user count. It doesn't increase the price for the applications. All right, and vice versa. Okay, so I'm going to change this back to 10, and let's just say I want to add marketing automation. All right, so as you can see, the pricing for the user count has remained the same, whereas the pricing for the apps has gone up. All right, so this means if you scale your company in terms of your employee size, but you're keeping the same core business, you don't have to pay extra for the applications. All right, and vice versa. If you're scaling your company in terms of revenue streams, but you're keeping the same amount of people, you don't have to pay for the extra users. Okay, so this is the flexibility that we offer you, and I believe a lot of companies like Odoo because of our unique pricing structure. All right, so obviously there are 2 payment methods for you to choose from if you decide to use Odoo. First one is the annual payment term, which means a prepayment of 12 months worth of subscription. You will pay upfront, and you will be able to use the Odoo subscription for 12 months. All right. Or if you want a little bit more of flexibility, you don't want to pay upfront, you can actually choose a monthly payment term. All right. So this means you will be billed monthly, and then obviously if you feel like Odoo is not the right software for you, you can leave after, let's say, a couple of months. All right. Now, obviously, we would encourage you to use Odoo for a longer period. So if you lock up the pricing for 1 year, we actually would give you a little bit of better pricing if you do annual payment. All right. So generally speaking, annual payment is actually a little bit cheaper. I would say 20 to 30% roughly cheaper than a monthly payment term. All right. So that's the basic structure of our pricing. Now, obviously, Odoo is a SaaS solution, meaning software as a service. So not only will you be able to use our software, but obviously you get some services along with it. All right, so let me quickly switch back to the other screen and let me briefly explain by paying the subscription fee that I was showing you earlier, what do you get other than being able to use the database? All right, so obviously, like I was saying, Odoo is a SaaS solution. So we actually provide you with some services along with your usage of the database. So the first service that we provide is the hosting. All right. So you have the freedom to choose to have Odoo hosted directly with us on our cloud, which means wherever you have access to internet, you can already go into your database and start working. Okay. So this could be your office. This could be at home. And I think right now we're seeing a huge growth spurt of people looking for a SaaS software to manage their business, just because the current situation with the pandemic. And this basically is a very, very good way to operate your business, which is to put everything on the cloud. So then, your employees could be working at home, maybe they're, working in another city, which makes it really convenient to kind of collaborate and see what each other is doing. All right. So you can have the ability to host the database on the cloud. And since we are hosting the database for you on the cloud, you can actually access it with your mobile devices. Okay. So we actually support both iOS and Android applications with an Odoo app. So basically, you could be anywhere in the world. As long as you have internet, you can already start working. All right. So obviously, we also provide maintenance. So if you encounter any errors or if you find a bug in the system, you can report it to us and we will fix it for you. If it's a smaller bug, we usually fix it in a batch, maybe once every couple of weeks. If it's a major bug that is, stopping you from operating normally, you can submit a support ticket, and usually, our support team will be able to fix that issue for you relatively soon. All right, and as a subscribed user, you will also be able to enjoy our latest features. So every couple of months, we would have small updates on specific features in the database. For example, maybe the sales module, it will be updated every couple of months. And as a subscribed user, you would be able to enjoy these latest features, and your database would actually be updated automatically. All right. Now, these are smaller feature updates that happens, quite frequently. And we also have a big major version upgrade every year. So right now, as we speak, we are on Odoo 13, V13. And by the end of the year, around October, November, we will be rolling out Odoo 14. All right, so we have a new version every year. And as a subscribed user, you would actually be able to migrate or upgrade to the new version completely free. Okay. Now, obviously, we do what we call a upgrade on demand. So, which means if you're happy with the current version, you don't want to go through migrating to a new version. You don't want to maybe ask your employees to learn the new features again. You can stay on the current version, which is totally fine. There's no problem with that. Or, if you feel like you want to test it out and see if the new features are any good, then you can contact our support team, and we can even give you some testing period to see if you like the new version, and then you can decide if you want to migrate to the new version or not. All right, so that's the feature and version upgrades. Now, obviously, like I was saying, since we're hosting the database for you, you can access it anywhere with internet, even with your mobile devices. And I think this is also it makes it really easy for you if you have different parts of your operations in different parts of the city or countries. For example, if you have a manufacturing business, your headquarters, your office might be in one city, and then your factory or your plant, manufacturing plant might be in a different city. With a cloud software, you can basically operate the whole operation that is on cloud. Okay, so you don't need to have two separate systems managing your business. All right. So obviously, since your database is hosted by us on our cloud, we would be doing all of the data backup for you just to make sure your data is safe. We actually do that twice a day, and oftentimes we try to store your data in different locations just to make sure your data is safe. All right. Now, obviously, if you want, you can do a data dump, and you can download the data from the database and store it somewhere in an offline location as a backup. That's also no problem. But we just want to give you the peace of mind to let you know that your data is safe with us. by us backing it up every day. All right. So we obviously also provide security and monitoring of your database. So for example, if somebody who is not a user, who is repeatedly trying to log into your database, we could maybe flag it and let you know. If you want to find out a little bit more information about our security protocol, you can actually go to our website, and we have a long list of documents that explains what protocols we follow, what are our standards, and you can learn more about our security protocols on our website. All right, so we also provide you with email and live chat support. So whenever you have a question, maybe about pricing or about a specific feature in your database, you can always either talk to our agents on our website via the live chat, or you can just submit a ticket, and then our support team will get back to you relatively soon. Now, I think one of the best things about Odoo is not only are you able to use this great software, this great product, but you also get to access a abundance of information regarding the Odoo product. All right, so we have a bunch of different materials on our website. We have different videos. We have a YouTube channel like the one that you're on right now. We have a bunch of videos that teaches you how to do specific settings, or how to study something that is a little bit more general. For example, we give you introductions to all of our applications, and we even have a 100% free e-learning platform or e-learning program that allows you and your employees to really get to know how to use Odoo with a fun and interactive kind of method. So then every one of you can become an Odoo expert in a short period of time. Okay? And another amazing thing is Odoo actually started out as a 100% open source software. So until this day, a lot of people are using Odoo and giving their feedback, giving their opinion, or sharing how they're using Odoo online. So if you just go on any search engine and you type in Google, you will be able to get access to a host of information about how to use Odoo. So I think that's really a beautiful thing about our product. All right, so that's basically our subscription service, which is the service that you would get by paying the subscription fee that I was explaining to you earlier. All right, so this would be the major component of our subscription. All right, now we have a second service, which is called the Odoo implementation service. Okay, so like I was saying earlier in the introduction, implementation means setting the database up. Okay, so you can either choose to set up the database on your own if you have an IT team, or if you have strong IT knowledge, then you might be able to set it up on your own. Like I was saying, we actually give you all of the information that you need to set up the database on your own on our website or on our YouTube channel and so forth. However, if you have never worked with an ERP software or a business management software, or even if you have never worked with Odoo, it makes a lot of sense for you to get a little bit of help from us, which is where the implementation service comes in. Okay, you can pay for this service, and we can actually assign you with a dedicated project manager to oversee the whole implementation with your company using Odoo. Okay, so this actually makes it really easy, and it would really speed up the whole overall implementation, because this person is obviously an Odoo expert, and they can configure the database in a way that matches your company perfectly. All right, so what does the implementation service include? Basically, like I was saying, we assign you with a dedicated project manager. So this project manager will be assigned to your implementation, and this person will not change. Okay, so this is very important, because if you don't get the service and you are just using our live chat or our support, email support online, it could be a different agent every time. So you might have to explain your situation, you might have to explain your questions every time when you're speaking with a new person. Whereas if you pay for this implementation service, we will assign you with a dedicated person. This person will not change. This person will actually have regular meetings, regular phone calls with you to update you on your progress, and they can answer to any of your specific needs. Okay, so that's actually a great way for you to handle the implementation with Odoo. Now, not only do we assign this dedicated project manager to you, but this person will also help you configure the database. All right. So like I was saying, all of the small little features that you have in the database, this person can activate them for you. All you need to do is you can tell them what you want the database to do for you. They will do it. You can just kick back and relax. And after a couple of weeks, you would have a fully ready to use database to operate your business. All right. Now, obviously, I understand a lot of people or a lot of companies, when they get a new software, data importation is a big subject, right? Because obviously, if you're not a new business, you would already have existing data, such as, maybe you have existing customers, contact information. You might have existing product information, pricing, product descriptions, and so forth. And if you have done any sort of software migrations before, you would know that that is quite a hassle, right? It takes a lot of time. You have to make sure everything is correct. Otherwise, you will run into a bunch of errors. All right. Now, if you don't want that, if you want to avoid that, if you want to avoid the pain, you can get the implementation service, and our project manager will help you to import all of your data into Odoo. All right. So obviously, they will also teach you how to use certain templates to make sure in the future, let's say a couple of years down the line, you really love Odoo, you're continuing to use Odoo. The more things you add, obviously, the more chances that you have to import more data. So you can also learn how to do that with the implementation service. All right. And obviously, I think the best thing about this implementation service is we can actually provide you with tailor-made trainings for your company. So for example, maybe you have a sales team and you're using the sales app. You have 10 people in the sales team. You can actually use this implementation service to do a group training or a team training for your sales team. Okay, so this could be done via video conferencing. Maybe it could be done with the video recording, or maybe we can point you to the right material so then all of your staff can really know how to use Odoo, what each specific Odoo terminology means, and like I said, you can become an Odoo expert in no time. All right, so that's basically what the implementation includes. Now, I want to reiterate that this implementation service is actually an optional service, so you don't have to get it if you don't want to. But obviously, we encourage you to get it because you would be assigned with a Odoo expert that can help you speed up the whole process and get you on track sooner, basically. All right. So that's it for the first two parts of the webinar, which is just to give you a quick recap. We talked about introduction and history of Odoo, and we talked about the pricing and the services that's included when you subscribe to Odoo. Okay, so now I would like to jump to the database and quickly show you how to navigate in the database and also show you some basic features of the database. Okay, so if you guys have tested Odoo before, you would know this is what we call the dashboard. But for those of you who haven't tried Odoo yet, basically you would be given a username and a password, and once you log in, you would be redirected to this page. Okay, so since Odoo is on the cloud, you can just use any browser either on your computer or on your phone. Same thing, log in and you will be redirected here. Okay, so all of the icons that you see on the screen, these are the applications that you have installed into your database. Okay, so according to the access rights, you might be seeing different icons. So for example, you can actually say, okay, the people in my sales team can only see the sales module, but not the inventory module, for example. And vice versa. Maybe you want to say, okay, my accountants can only see the accounting module, but not the manufacturing module, for example. Okay, so all of that could be done with different access rights setting. And access rights is actually definitely one of the things that our project managers can help you really define and really set up, so then when you start using the database, you don't have to worry about your employees going to places that they shouldn't. All right, so before I jump into any I would say major or more complex applications, I would like to first help teach you how to navigate within Odoo with our free features. Okay, so first and foremost, one of the things that we give to you for free is the Discuss application. So basically, this is kind of like Slack or any other messengers that you might be using already. It's just that this messenger is built into Odoo. Okay, so you no longer have to use a separate messenger like WhatsApp or Skype just to keep internal communication. You can basically do all of your communications in Odoo, and you can create different groups. Like for example, if you want to create a sales group, and then you want to invite all of your salespeople in it, you can create this sales group and you can say, hey, let's have a meeting today at 2 o'clock. All right, so once you send this message out, everybody in the sales team using Odoo will get this message. So obviously that saves you a lot of time. You don't have to jump to your phone, or you don't have to walk over to your colleague's desk, or you don't have to send an email, okay? So basically everything could be done in terms of communication in Odoo already, all right? Now obviously, apart from doing a group chat, you can also do a private chat. You can talk to a specific colleague of yours to collaborate or talk about things that you have to do together, okay? So this is very self-explanatory. So another free app that we give to you is apps. Okay, so basically this is like the app store on your phone. Okay, so you can easily access different apps. If you want to add apps into your database, you can easily just type in the name of the app and you can install it right away. So actually I want to show you how to use our contacts apps. In my opinion, this is one of the best apps in Odoo. Because Odoo is actually designed in a way where the whole software is actually what we call customer centric. Okay, so you can do everything basically starting from the contact page. So let me quickly show you how it looks like when you want to install an additional application. So all you need to do is, like I did, search the name and you can already click install. All right, so as you can see, Odoo works almost instantly. When you are interested in adding a new app, you can basically go to the app store, install it, and you can already use it right away. Okay, so this is one of the things that I love about Odoo. There's basically no waiting period. If you feel like you want to add something to expand your business, boom, you can do it right away. Okay, so as you can see, now I have the contact applications on my dashboard. So if I just click inside, obviously this contacts is a centralized location to keep track of all of your contacts information, including your customers, your vendors, even your employees. Okay, so you might ask, right? So I already have existing customers. Do you expect me to input them one by one? Absolutely not. So like I was saying in the beginning, Odoo actually makes it really easy for you to import your existing data. So right now, I can import a dummy contact list and show you what it looks like when you already have a bunch of contacts that you want to input or import into Odoo. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly import this list. And then you will see within no time, Odoo is able to handle and process this data importation for you. Now, obviously, you have to make sure all of the fields are correct. Otherwise, you would be running into a bunch of errors. But if you're able to get all of the fields matching, then you can see within 10 seconds, you already have all of your existing contacts into the new database that you have. Okay, so with Odoo, we make it really easy for you to kind of sort out and filter out specific things that you're looking for. So for example, at the top of the screen, you see what we have as the search or filtering function. So basically this allows you to filter out specific things that you're looking for, in this case, contacts. So obviously you can do a keyword search. So for example, if I'm looking for this person, maybe this person just gave me a call, I can just type in their name and obviously this person's contact will show on the screen. Or you can actually use many filters to filter out specific contacts that you're looking for. So you can maybe filter them out by country, by city, by company name, maybe by the number of deals that they have done with you. So we actually have a bunch of different filters. And the best thing is in Odoo, the filters can actually be compounded. Okay, so you don't only need to use, you have the ability to use more than one filter. Okay, so you can have 5 filters. So then you can really narrow down on all of your searches to find that exact thing that you're looking for. All right, so let me just give you an example of how the contact page is actually able to help you manage your business. So let's just say I want to go into this customer A. Once you go inside of the customer A, you will be able to input some basic information about this customer, such as their address, their phone number, their email address, and so forth. Okay, but the most brilliant thing about the contacts application is it actually keeps a record of all of the things that this specific customer has already done with you in terms of transactions. Okay, so if you look at the top, you see that there are 2 buttons here on the top of the contact page. Okay, so one, it says 3 sales, and one says this amount of money already invoiced. All right, so these are actually what we call smart buttons. So these smart buttons tell you what this customer has done with you for that specific integration. Okay, so now what I mean by integration is this 3 sales actually tells you the amount of sales orders that this customer has already had with you. And this smart button tells you the amount of money that you have already invoiced this customer. So as your business grows, when you add more applications, these smart buttons will actually, the list will grow, and the more smart buttons will appear based on the applications that you have installed into the database. All right, so it makes it really easy for you to manage your customers. Imagine if this customer just called you today and they said, hey, I want to see what I've bought from you from my most recent sales order. So all you need to do is you can come to the contact page, type in the customer's name, and you can already select sales and have an overview of all of the sales orders that this customer had with you already. So you can imagine you don't have to go to the front page, you don't have to go to sales and filter out the customer. You can just go directly to the customer contact page, and boom, you can already have that information right in front of you. All right, so like I was saying, the more applications that you add into the database, the more smart buttons will be. So then you can really easily navigate the information that the customer is looking for, be it accounting information, be it manufacturing orders, be it marketing campaigns that you have done with the customer. All right, so actually, this is actually what I would like to show you next, is the ability to issue a sales order directly from the contact page. Okay, so like I was saying earlier, I would think that the majority of the companies that is operating right now would need some sort of sales order. Doesn't matter if you're selling a product or a service, you always have to send the sales order to the customer, and in some cases you would have to do an invoice, so then you can actually get paid for the product or the service that you have provided to the customer. Okay, so let's just say this customer A, gave you a call today and they told you, hey, I actually want to buy some products from you. Okay, so without doing anything too complex, you can just come to the customer contact page, click on sales. Not only are you able to see all of the previous sales orders that this customer had, but you can also create a new sales order right away. All right, so I'm just gonna click create, and once I'm in the sales order page, I can easily add products to this sales order, and I can already send the sales order to the customer to confirm. Okay, now obviously there are a few neat features, easy to use features that I would like to introduce just to make your life a little bit easier when you're issuing a sales order. Okay, so apart from being able to add the product names one by one, you can also do what we call a quotation template, where you can actually have a pre-selected list of products grouped together. So these could be maybe promotional items in the list. This could be a popular package that customers always buys together. The possibilities are really endless. You can group different products. You can even select or input products in the same category as a quotation template. And let's say you have 20 things and the customer only wants 10 things. You can actually remove them, which will even be quicker than selecting them one by one. Okay, and another thing that I want to show you is we actually have a price list function, which allows you to sell products or services at different prices depending on different criteria, such as customer group. Maybe you're doing a specific promotion for a time period. What you can do is you can set up these price lists, and like I have done here on the screen, I've actually done a VIP price list. Okay, so under the current price list, the regular price list, if I select this product, you will see that it's actually 120. Okay, but if I quickly switch to the other price list, you will actually see that it's only 100. Okay, so this tells you Odoo has the ability for you to set multiple prices for the same product or service. Okay, so all of these settings could be done for you by the project manager under the implementation service. All you need to do is tell them that, hey, I have different prices for my products, and they will actually, or this person will actually already set everything up for you. So when you're ready to use Odoo, when you're actually issuing sales orders to make some money, to grow your company, you already have all of those set up for you. Okay, so I'm just going to say, okay, this customer wants my spring top picks. So I've already pre-selected 3 items in the spring top picks, and these are what they want. So let's just maybe say they want to buy 2 of my bracelets, 3 necklaces, and 1 gold piece. All right. So once you're able to, create this sales order, now you have the ability to send this sales order to the customer. Okay, so all you need to do is I will save this sales order and I will send this by email. Okay, so Odoo actually makes it really easy for you to manage your communication, not only internally, like I've showed you before, but also communicate externally with your customers. Okay, so we make it really easy for you to toggle between different templates. So maybe you would have a different template for a different group of customers. You can even select different languages for customers. So then when you send certain information like sales orders and emails to a customer who speaks, for example, Thai language, that email could automatically be sent for you in Thai or whatever the language that the customer prefers. Okay, and not only are we able to do templates in Odoo, but we actually automatically generate a PDF version of whatever you're sending. So let's say you're sending a sales order, Odoo will generate instantly a PDF version of that sales order. Okay, so let's just say everything looks good. I want to send this sales order to the customer. So I've actually set the email address of this customer to my own email. So then if I jump to my email inbox, you will see the email is actually sent out instantly. Okay, so if I click into the email, not only will I be able to see the information that I want the customer to see, which is the sales order number and also the price, but obviously the PDF is also there. So obviously there are still a lot of companies who are a little bit more traditional. They like to print out the document, stamp it, sign it, and then scan it and send it back to you. So that's always an option for those type of companies. However, if you're like Odoo, you might like things to be done online, right? Because obviously when you do things online, the sales cycle is shortened a lot, and it also is very environmentally friendly, right? So in Odoo, we allow you to handle your customers' invoices, sales orders, or any type of interactions, really, through what we call a customer portal. Okay, so as you can see in the email that I sent myself just now, there's a link, right? So if the customer clicks on the link, they will be redirected to what we call the customer portal. So in this customer portal, the customer can not only see the current document that you are sending them, which is the sales order number 4. Obviously, they can see the breakdown of all of the products that they're interested in buying. But they can also actually go to the main page of the customer portal and see all of the previous transactions that they have had with you already. So as the customer, I can actually see with your company, I have already had 1 quotation, I've already had 3 sales orders, and I have already had 2 invoices. So without the customer contacting you all the time, asking you, hey, you know what did I buy from you last time? They can actually just go on the portal on their own and see this information, all right? So this would drastically reduce your workload for your staff because they no longer have to just answer your customers' simple questions. They can already go on the portal and find that information on their own. All right, so let's just go back to the quotation that we have sent the customer, which is sales order number 4. So these are the 3 products that the customer is interested in. So let's just say, okay, everything looks good, but actually the customer has a question that they want to ask you. So if they scroll down, you will be able to see what we call the communication tool, where the customer can easily communicate with you for this specific sales order. Okay, so let's just say the customer wants to ask, hey, everything looks good, but please double check the tax. Okay, so I'm just making this up. And let's just say they want to attach a picture. Maybe they want to ask you, hey, do you have this product? You can just quickly attach a picture. And then I'm going to hit send, okay? Now what this would do is, this communication will now be captured into the Odoo backend, okay? So let me quickly go back to the backend, which is this page, which is the page that we were on earlier when we were issuing the sales order. So I'm going to give it a quick refresh. And you will see the message that the customer has sent you is now being recorded in the Odoo backend, okay? Now, there are a few benefits to this, okay? The number one benefit is you now can have what we call task-specific communication, okay? So all of this communication that you have back and forth with your company, with your customer, is only for this specific task that you're doing, okay? So this could be a sales order, this could be a purchase order, this could be a maintenance, it could be anything. All right. So this communication tool is actually in all of our modules in the Odoo database. Okay. So let's just say you want to reply to this customer saying, no problem, we will take a look. Once you send this message back to the customer, not only will they be able to see this message in the customer portal, which is right here, they actually also receive an email for it. All right, so this makes it really easy for you to have a organized way to communicate with the customer, either through the portal or through the email directly. Okay, so the customer can even just directly reply to the email, and this conversation thread will also be recorded into Odoo. Okay, so this really solves a lot of problems for a lot of companies, because imagine if you have a big company that you're working with, a big client, big customer, and this customer actually has 10 sales orders going on at the same time. Okay, so if you're just using a traditional email or whatever email that you're using, you might have 10 different email threads for the same customer, and it really is a pain, a hassle to kind of find which email thread is for which sales order. Whereas if you do it like this in Odoo, you can have task-specific communication. Okay, so it's a lot more organized for you to have that communication with your customers. Okay, so that's number one, which is sending the message. All right, so let's just say the customer is happy with everything, they're happy with the prices. What they can do is they can already do what we call a e-signature, and they can already accept and confirm the sales order. So this is actually something that Odoo uses internally as well. So if one day you decide to use Odoo and you have contacted me, I'll actually also send you an online quotation, and you can actually sign that quotation online. So then you can already start using Odoo right away. Okay, so obviously this will shorten the sales cycle a lot. Your customer don't have to print it out and sign it and scan it and send it back to you. They can sign on it online and already process the sales order. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the back end. And then as you can see now, the sales order has been confirmed. It has turned into an actual sales order. All right, so if we remember, the customer actually wanted us to double check the tax, right? So I can actually do that really easily. Imagine I'm just a salesperson. I don't really have access to the accounting side of things. All I need to do is I can actually tag my colleague in the finance team to tell them, please check the tax for this client. All right, what this would do is once you tag this colleague or teammate of yours, this person will also receive a notification, and when they click on that notification, they will actually be redirected to this sales order. Okay, so that means not only are you able to communicate externally with your customer inside Odoo, but you can also easily collaborate and work together with your team, because you can easily tag people on specific tasks that you're working on. Okay, so send message is mainly for external communication between your team and the customer. Log note is for internal communication between your team. All right, and then obviously we can schedule different activities, like maybe you want to give this person a call next week. You can already do that, or you can even assign this task to another teammate. Okay, so imagine, let's say you're an owner, or if you're a manager, you're actually following a big deal, tens of thousands of dollars. You can actually assign it to one of your best salespeople, and you can have them follow up with the customer. Okay, so this communication area, this communication tool, actually already allow you to really easily manage all of the communication needed for this specific task. Okay, so all that is left to do is create an invoice. Obviously, this is the most important part of your business, is to get paid. So all you need to do is create an invoice for all of the products that this customer has bought. Once you create this invoice, you will be able to see, okay, this customer still has these invoices that are waiting to be paid. You can send this to the customer by email, but I'm not going to do that because you already saw what that looks like. Or you can directly register the payment once you see that the money is in the bank. Okay, so I'm just going to do that really quickly. And you can see this invoice is basically paid. Now what that means is that this sales order has now been completed. All right, you have already done all of the communication required to process this sales order. the sales order has been confirmed. Let's say you have already shipped the products to the customer and you have already gotten paid. So this would be the most basic flow, I would say, within Odoo. Like I was saying earlier, we have a bunch of different applications that you can add onto the sales module, which could help you create a much more complex workflow depending on your business. Okay, so this would be the basic navigation and basic features of Odoo. Obviously, there are a lot more advanced or more complex features. If you have any questions, feel free to ask it below in the comment, or feel free to drop me an email, or even give me a call, or you can schedule a demo with me with this link you see on the screen. So I think now we can maybe take some questions from the comments.
Yes, hi, we got a lot of questions and right now we gonna answer the questions soon. Let me check like what's the question we have. And thank you for patience and for waiting during the Q&A. Okay, let's see. Maybe just start from the beginning. The question from Will, he is asking like how to create a new editable page tree feel similar with other lines that can add a new product or new unit.
Okay, so Will, let me just show you quickly, okay? So basically in Odoo, there's a few different ways to create a new product. So right now, we only have the sales module installed in the database. Usually whenever you're talking about products, you probably already need inventory, the inventory application, which is not something that I have installed right now. But under the sales module, you can also create products because obviously if you have to create sales orders, you would have to create products, right? Otherwise, you have nothing to include in the sales order. So under the sales module, you can also actually create products. And there's a few ways for you to kind of display or see what products you already have, such as product categories, and let's say how to add products under those product categories. All right. So right now, I have 3 products set up in this database. So apart from this, what we call a Kanban view, which is, has a picture, has a name, you can change to what we call a list view, which is a list, and it will probably display a little bit more information. Now, if I understand your question correctly, if you want to change the view or if you want to add more information on the view, what you can do is you can install what we call Odoo Studio. Odoo Studio is actually our customization tool in Odoo, which allows you to easily add different fields, add different buttons on the layout in the database. Okay, so with Odoo Studio, you can actually add additional columns and fields to display the information that you want. Okay, so let's just say if I go back to the Kanban view, I'm just going to quickly group all of my products by product categories. As you can see, each product belongs to a specific category. We have bracelet, custom pieces, and necklaces. Okay, so it's actually really easy for you to create new product categories. If you are looking at it under the filter product categories, you can actually already add a new product category. This could be, let's just say, new category. All right. And once you add this category, you can easily add a product underneath that category. All you need to do is you can hit the plus or the add button and you can already create a product. Let's just say this is product 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and edit it. Now, once you are inside the product page, you can, obviously change some settings, right? You can give it different pricing. You can add some barcodes, information. You can give it different description, for example. So without the inventory module, you actually cannot track the actual units that you have. Under the sales module, you're only able to add the product so then you have something to include in the sales order. All right. So if you're actually looking for ways to manage your stock in terms of units, in terms of the product movements, then you would need to install the inventory module. Okay. But this is basically how you would do a basic setup of a product with only the sales module. Okay. So hopefully that answers your question. If not, feel free to drop me an email and I can discuss with you in detail. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Curtis. Then the next question is from Kristen. And he is asking like, can you explain the best ways to migrate or synchronize accounting information from the third party to Odoo?
Okay, so Tristan, this is a little bit more complex of an issue. So you can do what we called API integration, which means you can integrate or connect a third-party software, be it Peachtree or QuickBooks, and you can integrate this software and the information in here into Odoo. Okay, so technically that is possible. However, we don't really encourage that because the whole purpose of using Odoo is to manage everything under one software, right? If you remember in the introduction, we actually showed you a visual that tells you the problems with using multiple software at the same time. So that's number one, right? We don't really encourage that, even though it is technically possible. Number two, let's just say you really, really want to do that. Maybe you have an existing software that you're already used to, that you like, but you also like other aspects of Odoo. Then you can actually use what we call Odoo SH, which is if I put it lightly, it's kind of like a more premium version of Odoo. Okay, so everything that you saw today is basically the regular version of Odoo, which is called Odoo SaaS, or regular Odoo. Whereas if you want to do API connections, you would have to use Odoo SH, which is a little bit more expensive and it requires a little bit more, I would say, IT know-how to operate. But obviously, if you are interested in linking your existing softwares to Odoo, you can take a look at Odoo SH and see if that's something that you want. Obviously, if you have any questions regarding that, you can also reach out to me, drop me an email. But basically, that would be, I think, the most simplest way to answer your question. All right, so thank you for that, Tristan.
Yes, and the first question is also from Tristan. It's about are there any plans to implement video conferencing functionally like Zoom or WebEx? Seems like that kind of feature would be very useful during the situation like now.
Sure. So I believe we are moving towards that, just without the current pandemic. So we actually have things like e-learning application, which allows you to do courses, which allows you to design a curriculum. Maybe you're a teacher, maybe you're educational organization. Maybe you have classes, you have lectures, and we already have a great application which is called e-learning in place that allows you to do just that. In terms of video conferencing capabilities, it's not something that we have at this very moment. But like I was saying, we actually have a new version of Odoo every year. So I believe features like this would definitely be included in Odoo relatively soon. Okay, so I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, also we got a different topic, different webinar topic every week, and I'm gonna share the e-learning page during the chapter, then you can review our videos. Okay, let's go to the fourth questions. This is about what migration software would you recommend? Blanket SQL database to Odoo.
So basically, depending on how you want to use Odoo and basically the complexity of your requirements, there's actually a myriad of ways to handle that migration. Okay, so the easiest way would be just do a data transfer, right? So maybe you would get all the data from your existing software and input it into Odoo, or like I was saying earlier, you can actually integrate your current system with Odoo, even though that's not something that we would suggest. All right. Now, if you really, really want to find out about the more technical aspects of a migration, you can actually go to our website. You can either go to our, I believe it's odoo.com/upgrade, which kind of explains how the migration process works for people who is already using Odoo. Or you can go to our documentation, and we actually, under the documentation, we have a development, or I think developer documentation that really discuss and explains all of the technical aspects such as migration, in that area as well. So I would like to let you know that I'm basically a business advisor. So my main duty is to really try to help businesses understand uh, what Odoo features can do for their business. Understand and analyze their workflow. In terms of these technical aspects of Odoo, I'm not really familiar with. So hopefully, you can go to our documentation and see the developer documentation and really find an answer there.
Yes, thanks, Curtis. Then we're gonna go to the next question. We have so many questions today.
No problem. I'm glad that you guys find the demo useful, and I'm really happy to answer your questions.
Yes, then the next question is from Jeffrey. If I'm on QuickBooks, our competitor, then I want to switch to Odoo. How can I import depending invoice or bills? Because once I'm running on Odoo, the customer sends me a payment. How can I register that?
Right. So, like I was saying earlier, you can either use Odoo SH to integrate QuickBooks with Odoo, or if you don't want to do that, some companies actually prefer to run the two softwares in parallel. So maybe you're still using QuickBooks and you have the accounting module in Odoo. And what you would do is basically you would just do a batch export from QuickBooks. So maybe you would do it every week. You would export a bunch of invoices, and then you would then use these invoices to import into Odoo. So then it would be recorded into Odoo. So that's a more manual way. But I think the best way is to replace all of your accounting operations with Odoo to replace QuickBooks. Now, obviously, that's something that you would have to consider and think through, because you might be already using QuickBooks for a long time, you already like it, or maybe you're subscribed to them for a long period, you're still stuck in a contract and you can't really leave. Then we would have to discuss in detail. But basically, the short answer would be you either integrate it with Odoo SH, you either do a batch import export, or you would have the whole operation be replaced by Odoo.
Okay, and I'm gonna speak louder. Then another question is from Will. In the first question you mentioned that we need a Odoo studio to add a new photograph or new corner in the list.
Sure.
And if he don't have a Odoo studio, then can we do that?
Sure. So I'm glad that you're already using Odoo Community, because Odoo Community is actually 100% open source, like I was saying, and it's actually completely free. Okay, so a lot of our Odoo users are actually on Community just because it gives them that flexibility financially. However, Odoo Studio is only applicable to our enterprise version, meaning our paid version. So with Odoo Community, like you said, you basically have to do all of the changes with the coding in the back. All right, so you probably have to do a little bit of research on your own, because when you're using Odoo Community, since it is a free version, we actually don't provide you with any type of support, such as how to set up different things or how to change the coding and so forth. However, you don't have to worry, because like I was saying, there's actually a lot of people using Odoo Community. So all you need to do is you can just go online, go to any search engine, type in Odoo Community and the problem that you have, and chances are somebody somewhere in some forum is already telling you a step-by-step guide on how to do that specific thing that you're trying to do. Okay, so that would be my answer to you.
Okay, thank you. Then the next question is it possible to do a bulk data migration instead of key in one by one?
Yes, definitely. So like I was showing you earlier with the contacts, you can do a bulk import. So you can either have like a CSV file, whether it be your contacts, whether it be your products, you can just do an Excel sheet and you can import it like that. Or if you are just starting out to use Odoo, and let's say you already have an existing software, what would happen is if you pay for the implementation service, our project manager will actually help you migrate all of your data from your existing software. Or let's say if you're just operating with Excel currently, with Excel spreadsheet, this project manager will actually help you format your spreadsheets and change the format and the fields and the cells and so forth. So then you can do a batch or a batch import into Odoo. So you can either do it by specific applications, or you can just do like a bulk migration from your existing software. So yes, that is definitely possible.
Okay, seems right now we answer all the questions, and because we are a little bit overrun, so I think we should like saying goodbye to you for by for the webinar. Then thank you all of you once again coming to Curtis webinar, and don't forget to like and share our webinar. Also, this webinar is gonna be update after we go live,
Sure.
so you can review our webinar every time.
Yes.
Then we
And
see.
if you want to reach out to me, if you have a specific question, if you happen to be in Asia Pacific, feel free to drop me an email, or you can just click the demo link that I have on the screen. You can schedule a demo with me, and I can really get down and dirty with the questions that you have, and really give you a better explanation to your questions. So thank you very much for joining the webinar today. Thank you, Mandy, for being a great host, and hopefully we will see you guys soon.
Yeah, see
Again.
you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.